until the veil was torn. The moment that hope was born, guilt was pardoned once and for all. Captivated, no longer bound by chains, left at an empty grave, sinner and the sacred resort. All of creation, sing with me now. Lift up your voice and lay your burden down. All of creation, sing with me now. Fill up the heavens, let His glory resound. Time is fading, and we see Him face to face. Every doubt erased, forever we will worship the King. Sing it out, all of creation. All of creation, sing with me now. Lift up your voice and lay your burden down. All of creation, sing with me now. Fill up the heavens, let His glory resound. Sing the reason we breathe. The reason we breathe is to sing of His glory, and for all He has done. Praise the Father, praise the Son, and the Spirit in one. And all of creation, sing with me now. Lift up your voice and lay your burden down. All of creation, sing with me now. Fill up the heavens, let His glory resound. All of creation, sing with me now. Lift up your voice and lay your burden down. All of creation, sing with me now. Fill up the heavens, let His glory resound. Every knee will bow, oh, and every tongue praise the Father, praise the Son, and the Spirit in one.
Here we go. As many of you know, Steve's son got married yesterday, and so he's off today. And so we've got a special treat for you today. One of our own, Tracy McDaniel, is going to come and speak to us. And Tracy's been teaching our senior adult Sunday school class for 28 years. And so glad to give him an opportunity today. So y'all welcome him as he comes up. And be praying for Steve, Sue, and the family as they recover from the wedding yesterday. It was a beautiful wedding right here in our sanctuary. So Tracy, come on up and share what God's laid on your heart.
Well, good morning. How y'all doing? I just want y'all to relax. We're just going to talk for a few minutes. Some things I think y'all need to hear. Thank you for that introduction, Jeff. I'm going to give you about a minute's worth of an autobiography just so you'll have a little better feel about who I am. I've taught the same Sunday school class for 28 years. I live directly across the road. I've lived there for 34 years. I'm married to the greatest woman to ever draw breath for the last 35 years. We celebrated our anniversary last week. Outside of my salvation, she is the greatest gift God has ever given me, and it's been a wonderful 35 years. Let's see. I've got 2 children, been a dad for 33 years, worked at the same place for 38 years. I ain't much about change. I don't mind change, I just don't want to be there when it's going on. I like to hunt and fish. Probably my greatest passion is bird watching. I've seen 187 different species in Columbia County alone in my lifetime. I've seen a new bird every year since 1984. My least favorite color is red. I don't like my food to touch. Very much an introvert. One of my biggest fears is people, and I have trust issues. Having all that said, I told you that for a couple of reasons. Number one, I've been called peculiar, different, odd, weird. I like to think of it biblically. I am uniquely made. I think we're all uniquely made. The other reason I tell you that is you probably have questions now. You think about all the questions you're asked during the course of a day. Graduates, you would probably ask, what are you going to do? Where are you going to school? Now that you are all grown up and graduated from college, what do you want to be? You ask all kinds of questions. I'm an outside sales guy. I sell insulation and gutters for a local company here. Mostly deal with new construction, but I do some homeowners. So I've got 3 or 4 questions that are some of my favorites. One of them is you give a homeowner a price and they ask you, is that a good price? I want to look at them and go, no. No, that's not a good price. I jacked it up. Another question, you start a job and you don't finish it. They'll call and say, are you coming back? No, you're never going to see me again. No disrespect to the food service people here. Second favorite question of all time. You're eating a meal, you're about halfway through, you're out of your favorite cold beverage. They come by and they ask you, do you want something else to drink? No, I'm just going to choke the rest of this down. Probably my all-time favorite, though, and it happens every night, probably in every household. What do you want for supper? Or you're out on a date. Let's go eat pizza. No, I don't want pizza. You pick. How about chicken? No, I don't want chicken. We ask a lot of questions. Some of them are important, some are not. I got 4 grandboys, 6, 4, 2, and 2. They ask all kinds of questions. Why can't we go out and play in the rain? Why can't I go to the park by myself? We ask all kinds of questions. I just want to share with y'all for the next few minutes, I think there's only 2 questions in life that you have to answer. There's only 2. The first question is, if you have an outline, is, do you believe? Okay? So, Jesus was a great storyteller. He told stories all the time. He would draw you in, and then there you were. As a small child, I can remember going to my grandparents' house, and they tell all kinds of stories. It's a lost art. So I'm just going to tell y'all a few stories to maybe bring some truth to light, okay? It's August 5th, 2010. 33 miners in Chile got up to go to work. This was before some of y'all were born, probably. They go to work. They go in 3 miles. They're 2,300 feet below the surface, and the mine caves in. 3 miles in, 2,300 feet down. They're trapped. They were there 69 days. On October the 13th, they were rescued. Now you think, how did they get out? No chance of digging out. You're 2,300 feet down, no telling what's above you. You're 3 miles from the entrance. I'm thinking that's a long way to walk into work. So what happened was somebody above came up with a plan. We'll drill a hole down to this place where they are. We'll insert a cage-looking thing. We'll lower it down and we'll rescue them. Now, I don't know who those people were, but they must have been extremely smart, because I'm thinking if you're off a half a foot at the top, you're off a half a mile at the bottom. They're in one area. And, I told you all I was uniquely made, so some of the things that run through my mind is, wonder how dark it was down there. Now, I'm 33 men, 69 days. Where do you think they went to the bathroom at? I'm telling you, I'm different. So anyway, this group of people, it was 3 different companies if I remember correctly, decided they would drill this hole. So they start drilling the hole. 69 days they get there. They insert a cage on a cable, put a rescuer in the cage, and lower him down there. He gets there, everybody's elated to see him, and the question is, do you believe this will save you? And of course the 33 miners say, absolutely. So one by one, they get in the cage, they rescue, great big party. Guys, that's the gospel right there. You are a miner. You are trapped. So let me just draw some parallels for you, okay? We're all trapped here on earth. We cannot save ourselves. We're trapped. There's nothing we can do to save ourselves. If you notice, I said there was 33 miners. 32 of them was from Chile. I don't know if this is a technical term, if it's right or not, but I'm going to call them Chileans. It's 32 Chileans and 1 Brazilian. They didn't send that capsule down there just to save the Chileans or just the Brazilian. They sent it for everybody. And all 33 were saved. They couldn't come up with a plan on their own. There was no way they were going to save themselves. It had to come from above. God divined the plan. He came from above because we cannot save ourselves. And so if you noticed, I said they put a rescuer in that cage to send down to where those miners were. He met them where they were. That's Jesus Christ. He's our rescuer. God sent him down to meet us where we are to save us. The only thing the Chileans and the Brazilian had to decide was, do I get in the cage? So you may be here today and you have not accepted Jesus as your Lord and Savior. I'm telling you, you're one of those miners. There's no way you're going to save yourself. He's just asking for a decision. If you look in Matthew chapter 9, I did this in the first service too. I forgot to give you all the scripture up first because I'm so excited about being here. As Jesus went on from there, 2 blind men followed him, calling out, "Have mercy on us, Son of David." When he had gone indoors, the blind men came to him, and he asked them, "Do you believe that I'm able to do this?" "Yes, Lord," they replied. And he touched their eyes and said, "According to your faith, it will be done to you." So the question is, do you believe? Because we all, next blank, everyone believes in something. We all believe in something. So let's look at a couple things that we believe in when it comes to salvation. Maybe, just maybe, you're here today and you believe you can be good enough. I'm here to tell you, you can't be good enough. Maybe I just won't beat my dog, won't curse at my neighbor, won't speed going down the road, won't talk bad about somebody. I'll just be good. I'll just be good. The road to hell is paved with good people. I used to pray to God, let me have a good day. Just let me have a good day. As I won't say I've gotten older, if I've gotten more mature, I've started praying, God, give me a godly day. Give me a godly day. Not a good day, a godly day, and there's a lot of difference. Maybe you're here today and say, I'll just keep the law. You think about the Ten Commandments. Those were all laws, right? How we doing with keeping that? Nobody can keep the law. You think, well, I ain't never stole nothing. You ever work for somebody and you took a break while you was clocked in? That's stealing time. You ever took a pen home from work? Gym clip? Piece of paper? That's stealing. You ever made a copy at work? That's stealing ink. You can't keep the law. I can't keep the law. You can't keep the law. Jeff, Steve, Wes can't keep the law. Billy Graham can't keep the law. Nobody can keep the law. So you can take that one off the page. Maybe you think there's many ways. Maybe you just think at the end God's going to say, I love y'all so much, everybody come into heaven. Just everybody. That would go against His Word. His Word says, I am the way, the truth, and the life. No one comes to the Father except through me. There's only one way, and that's Jesus. So, everybody believes in something. So the question remains, do you believe? Do you believe? Now, once you answer that question in the affirmative, which is yes, you don't ever have to deal with that question again. Because see, I believe once you're saved, you're always saved. If it took God to do it, you can't undo it or you'd be God. If it took God to do it and you can undo it, you would be God. I know some of y'all. I don't know all y'all. I'm confident, though, ain't none of y'all God. I'm confident of that fact. So there's not many ways. There's only one way. And it's called the gospel. And His name was Jesus. And He came on a rescue mission from heaven, from a plan that God designed to save you from eternal damnation. And that plan was, He sent Him to earth, He lived here 33 years, He was crucified, He was buried, He died, He was buried, He was raised again to pay your sin debt. That's your only ticket to heaven. That's the gospel. And you either believe it or you don't. Now, once you answer that yes, and you get that ironed out, then becomes the question that you will answer the rest of your life. Do you trust me? Do you trust me? So let me give you a couple examples of that in my own life. As I mentioned to you, I'm a dad. I got 2 great kids. My oldest is a daughter, and I don't know, time goes by faster now. 8 or 9 years ago, a young gentleman came calling and asked her to marry him. And so they got married. They were married a few years. And I get a call on a cool February afternoon as I'm driving home from her. And to be as respectful as I can to my daughter, he had done things that a loving husband don't do to a wife. And she had endured that for a year and a half. And an event happened where that was it. And she says, I'm done, I'm getting a divorce. Well, I mentioned to y'all I like to hunt and fish. Well, you know, when you hunt, you kill. I'm not going to say that was my first response, but I will tell you it's pretty high up the list. So when me and God really need to do business, I hit the woods. That's my sanctuary. That's where I go. Sometimes I sit, sometimes I walk, sometimes I talk, sometimes I holler. That's where I do business. So I hit the woods. And I told God, I don't know how y'all's relationship with God is, but I just told Him, I said, those verses you've given me in the past, all things will work to the good for those who are heavy burdened. I said, them ain't going to work this time. No, you got to give me something new. I got to have a fresh word. I got to have something new from you. Now, I don't know about y'all. I don't spend a great time in Joel. That's where I ended up, Joel chapter 2. Verse 25. I will repay you for the years the locusts have eaten, the great locusts and the young locusts, and the other locusts and the locust swarms, and my great army that I sent among you. You will have plenty to eat until you are full, and you will praise the name of the Lord your God, who has worked wonders for you. Never again will my people be ashamed. Then you will know that I am in Israel, that I am the Lord your God, and that there is no other. Never again will my people be ashamed. My background is in horticulture. And to me, there's nothing prettier than a freshly plowed field. I mean, one of them great big fields, there's nothing out there but dirt. But as a farmer, you're looking for a sprout. Now, I believe that if you're looking for God, He's everywhere. So when I read that, I said, all right, God, okay, I'm looking for a sprout. I'm looking for a little stalk of corn or something to come popping up out the ground when it comes to my door, okay? We had to move her, had to pay, help her stay where she was because she's a labor and delivery nurse, had a good job, but you can't live on your own. She dated a few guys, which brings a whole nother level of anxiety and a whole nother level of trust. And the whole time God is whispering, that little still small voice, trust me. Trust me. So, October of that year, we go off to Waynesboro to a wedding. And of all days, it was on the opening day of deer season. That ought to be against the law. It ought to be against the law to have a wedding on the opening day of deer season. Anyway, we went. Mine and my daughter's song is My Girl. That's what we danced with in the first one. So we go, see all kind of people that we know that was in her first wedding and all this kind of stuff. And I'm thinking, God, you've got to be kidding me. You know, you got to be kidding me. So this young man, I don't know him from Adam, gets up, and I know you're supposed to have your eyes closed when you pray. Well, he started praying. And when he did, I kind of cracked one eye. I said, that guy can pray now. I mean, he's got it going on. So anyway, we get through, the couple gets married, we go to the reception, and they played that song, My Girl. So of course my daughter wanted to dance. When we danced, I told my wife, I'm done. We're going home. Not going to do this anymore. So we leave. Unbeknownst to me, that young man was there to meet another young lady on a blind date. Well, him and Brennan got to talking, and 5 hours later, he's got her phone number. So I see a little sprout. 3 weeks later, we meet in Greensboro to eat lunch, and he asked me this, is it okay if I date your daughter? Now, what era is that out of? I said, sure. Time rocks on. He shows up at the house. I want your permission to marry her. I said, let me tell you something, bud. She can't go through nothing. I ain't going through nothing. So you better be doggone sure. They've been married 5 years. That's my daughter. And that's my son-in-law, Zach. He's a firefighter, a lieutenant of his own fire department. And I'm telling you, through this whole process, all God asked me was to trust me. To trust me. I know you don't think I know what I'm doing, but trust me. See, because it's easy to trust God when He's doing what you want Him to do. When it's falling right along the plan that you've got set out for Him. But when you get off of that plan, and He's not doing like you want Him to do, He's asking you to trust Him. So I had to trust Him with my daughter. They've been married 5 years this coming into May. They blessed me with 2 of my grandboys. Do they look happy? Happy as they can be. Okay, second example. I have a son. He married his high school sweetheart. They've been married 10 years. They gave me my first grandson, Landon Lamar. I call him Snapdragon. I think every granddad ought to have nicknames for their grandchildren because it makes a connection. Me and him's pretty tight, I guess, because he's been with me the longest. Well, they announced that they're going to have another little boy. May of 2 years ago. No, he was born May of 2 years ago. So they go to the hospital. Delivery happens, and my son texts me and said there's been some complications. They're going to take him to the NICU, and then they took him to the, sure enough, NICU over at the Children's Hospital. So here's the first picture I've got of my grandson. Now, if you don't think that won't break a man's heart, he couldn't breathe. They had him on nitrous oxide. I thought that was for cars. They had him on oxygen. They had him on a ventilator. They had him on high blood pressure medicine. I thought that was for old people. They had all that on him. I said, son, is he going to be okay? He said, Dad, we don't know. They didn't get to see him for 3 or 4 days. So again, hit the woods. Me and God's got to do some business. So, and I said, God, I'm not asking this time. I'm begging. I'm begging for my grandson's life. I'm begging. You do what you want to with me, but spare my grandson. Spare him. I couldn't get to him. Couldn't hold him. Bryce and him couldn't get to him. I think he got in there for about an hour a day. John chapter 4, verse 49. The royal official said, Sir, come down, my child, before my child dies. Jesus replied, You may go. Your son will live. The man who took Jesus at his word and departed. While he was still on the way, his servants met with him with the news that his son was living. When he inquired as to the time when his son got better, they said to him, The fever left him yesterday at the 7th hour. Then his father realized that this was the next exact time at which Jesus had said to him, Your son will live. So he and his household believed. So I said, Lord, I can't get to him. You got to go. You got to go. So, second day they're there, I asked Bryce, I said, what room are y'all in? He said, we in room 333. Remember I told y'all I believe God's everywhere if you're looking for him? If you go to Jeremiah 33:3, that's God's phone number. Y'all didn't know that? That's God's phone number. If you want to call God, you go to Jeremiah 33:3, which says, Call to me, and I will answer you and tell you great and unsearchable things you do not know. There's a peace that comes when you know God's involved. So we go through day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4, day 5, day 6, day 7, day 8. They take him off. He can't breathe. They put him back on. They wean this down. They move this up. I don't understand all that stuff. I'm an insulation salesman. I don't know how all that works. Day 10, we got Landon with us. I said, look here, bub, when y'all go home tomorrow, after y'all see Ollie, let me know and I'll bring little man to you. Because y'all going back and forth to the hospital, I know y'all wore out. Well, the NICU nurse decided when they cut everything down and he started downhill with his breathing, she said, wait. Let's just see what happens. We can always turn it back on. Let's just see what happens. Now, my heart goes out to NICU nurses. They're not angels, but they real close. Real close. So anyway, the next morning, Bryce calls and says, we headed home. I said, good, I'll bring Landon to you. He said, we got Ollie man in the back seat. Got him in the back seat. He turned 2 this past Friday as my man. That's what I call my miracle baby. And the whole time God is asking, do you trust me? Do you trust me? So I think about old Peter. Y'all remember Peter, right? Matthew 14:22. Immediately Jesus made the disciples go out into the boat and go ahead of him to the other side while he dismissed the crowd. After he had dismissed them, he went up on a mountainside by himself to pray. When evening came, he was there alone, but the boat was already a considerable distance from the land, buffeted by the waves because the wind was against it. During the fourth watch is somewhere between 3 and 6 in the morning. So it ain't like this storm came up and God said, boom, let's make the storm go away. They've been in this storm a while. During the fourth watch of the night, Jesus went out to them walking on the lake. When the disciples saw him walking on the lake, they were terrified. It's a ghost, they said, and cried out in fear. But Jesus immediately said, don't be afraid. Lord, if it's you, Peter replied, tell me to come to you on the water. Come, he said. Then Peter got down out of the boat, walked on the water, and came towards Jesus. Now, I don't know about y'all, but that's a whole different level of trust. That's a whole different level. Peter, just walk out here on the water with me, big guy. I mean, I don't know about y'all, but I'd have probably went. Just to see. Says Peter got out of the boat. Peter got out of the boat and went to him on the water. So the whole time you're a Christian, once you believe that Jesus is the Savior and you've accepted him, the only other question he asks you, and I don't know about y'all, but he asked me this a bunch. Sometimes it's daily, sometimes it's hourly, sometimes it's about a minute. Do you trust me? Do you trust me? Because everybody trusts something. Everybody trusts something. So think about some of the things you trust. I guarantee if we was on Family Feud, not Family Feud, the one where you have the top 5 answers on the board, whatever that show's called. Number 1 answer, self. Self. We're going to figure it out. Minors couldn't figure it out. I couldn't figure it out with my daughter. I couldn't figure it out with my son. Okay? We're going to figure it out, though. Especially men. Men's going to figure it out because we like to fix things. Men, let me tell you something. You're going to encounter some stuff in life you can't fix. You can't fix it. I don't care what you do, you can't fix it. You know what God's asking you? Are you trusting me to fix it? See, and our issue with it is, are you going to fix it like I want you to fix it? We have a problem with that. Because we like to tell God, this is how I want you to fix it. Just fix it. He don't fix it like we want him to sometimes. Self. I tell you something else we depend on, that we trust in, is others. Anybody ever let you down? Don't lie to me. Anybody ever let you down? You trust in others. You trust in the fact that your parents, grandparents, brother, whatever, went to church and was saved. I got a great lineage. That ain't going to get you to heaven. Some people trust in a job or position or power. They trust in all that stuff. If I could just have this job, if I could just be president of this, if I could just have this power. How about money? Trust in money. Let me ask you this. Do you ever have enough money? You never have enough money. You make $100,000, you're going to spend $100,000. You make $200,000, you think, I'll put $100,000 in the bank. No, you're going to spend $200,000. What messes people up is, you make $100,000, you live on it. You make $200,000, you live on it, and then all of a sudden you ain't making but $150,000. You can't back up because you're used to living on $200,000. So you trust in money. How about this one? How about fun? Everybody likes to have fun, don't they? We trust in fun. You know, one of the greatest weapons the devil has when it comes to sin's fun. You don't ever say, oh, you know, we're going to go out and sin, it ain't going to be fun at all. It's fun. We trust in all them things. So do you trust me? Do you trust me? So maybe you're going through something. Now this right here, first to Job. Y'all know the story of Job, right? Lost everything. How about this encounter? One day when the angels came to present themselves before the Lord and Satan also came with them, the Lord said to Satan, "Where have you come from?" Satan answered the Lord, "From roaming the earth and going back and forth in it." Now listen to this next statement. Then the Lord said to Satan, question now, "Have you considered my servant Job?" There's Satan, running around trying to test somebody. The Lord says, "Have you thought about my boy Job?" So maybe if you're going through something and it's a trust deal, maybe your name came up in a conversation. Maybe it came up in a conversation between the Lord and Satan. And the Lord said, have you considered this guy right here? Have you considered this young lady right here? Have you considered this? Because I believe they trust me. And you look at all that Job went through. Lost everything. Did everything but killing. For however long the book of Job is, he asked the question why, and God never answered him. Never answered him. But you know what Job didn't do? He didn't turn his back on God. He did not. His friends ridiculed him. His wife gave him a hard time. He said, "I trust God. I trust God." I'm going to ask the band to come back. So I don't know where you are today. I don't know where on this scale you fall. Maybe you're here today and this is the first time you've heard the gospel presented like that, but I'm going to tell you, you're a trapped miner. You can't dig your way out. So maybe today is the day of salvation for you. Or maybe you're here and you have what I call a religion. It's here. You know, there's a lot of people that are about 12, 14 inches from heaven. The difference between your mind and your heart. See, I'm not asking you to have a religion this morning. I'm asking you to have a relationship. A relationship with the man that can change everything. And get it out of your head and get it in your heart. Because a religion will send you to hell. A relationship will send you to heaven. Or maybe you've ironed all that out. You've got all that squared away. Maybe you're dealing with something today and all God's asking you is, do you trust me? Now, I'd like to tell you that, I inquisitively, I think that's a word, say yeah. And there's some days I can say that. Oh yeah, I trust you. I trust you. There are other days I'm not so sure. And some of y'all are probably sitting here thinking, well, you gave us two great examples of God doing, moving and all that. Well, I still believe God moves. Suppose he hadn't. Suppose he hadn't. The question's the same. Do you trust me? Well, when Ollie was going through all that, I helped support K-Love Radio. Being the modern service, y'all probably are familiar with that. The first service, there was a few in there, but it's a contemporary radio station. And since I'm an outside sales guy and spend so much time in my car, when I'm not listening to sports radio, I turn it on K-Love. Well, when all this went down with Ollie, I called them. And I had people all over this country praying for that boy. All over this country. Now, one of the songs they have on there is by, I forget who it's by now, but the name of it's Even If. And one of the lines in it is, I know you're able and I know you can. Save through the fire with your mighty hand. But even if you don't, God, My hope is in you. I know the sorrow and I know the hurt would all go away if you would just say the word. But even if you don't, my hope is in you. So maybe you're here today and you, like me, you got trust issues. I'm going to invite y'all to come. I'm going to invite you to come while the band plays.
Oh, to see the dawn of the darkest day, Christ on the road to Calvary, tried by sinful men, torn and beaten there, nailed to a cross of wood. This the power of the cross. Christ became sin for us, took the blame, bore the wrath. We stand forgiven at the cross. To see the pain written on your face, bearing the awesome weight of sin, every bitter thought, every evil deed, crowning your blood-stained brow. Now the daylight flees, and now the ground beneath quakes as its maker bows his head. Curtain torn in two, dead are raised to life, finished the victory cry. Christ became sin for us, took the blame, bore the wrath. We stand forgiven. We stand forgiven. We stand forgiven. We stand, and we stand forgiven. We stand forgiven. We stand forgiven. We stand. We stand. We stand forgiven. We stand forgiven. We stand. And oh, to see my name written in the wounds, for through your suffering I am free. Death is crushed to death, and life is mine to live. Won through your selfless love. This the power of the cross. Son of God, slain for us. What a love, what a cost. We stand forgiven at the cross.